Hello, good evening and welcome back to West Ham Network and the Old School Hammers. To my left is Cieran, as usual. Cieran, how are you, sir?
Good, mate. Good.
It's a good morning to you, I should add that.
Good morning. Yeah, it's a lovely morning again. But that average of 26 is starting to drop to 23s now. So, yeah, just slowly getting cooler. But really nice.
Yeah, you'll be having the woolly gloves and the scarf out in a minute, won't you?
I do overreact when a few degrees goes down. I seem to run for fucking jumpers and coats and all sorts, even when it's not that cold, but I just don't like it anymore.
Yeah, no, well, you've been living the good life, mate, haven't you? So, so tonight we will have a special guest in the studio. He'll be here. That's Keith Knight. That's all right, mate. We're all animals here. That's Keith Knight, the ex Metropolitan Police officer and ex-referee, who will be helping us to discuss and try and make sense of the VAR and the refereeing decisions over the last however long. It's going to be a tough subject for us to get our teeth into because, well, there's so many different opinions on what could, should, and did happen. So let's have a little look in the chat and see who's here. Usual suspect first in the house. Been in touch with my solicitor last night's debacle. I'll be seeing you two in court. Last night's debacle.
What happened there?
What the? You're going to have to explain yourself there, usual, because last night I had no contact. It wasn't me, mister. Yeah, mate. I had no contact with you at all last night in any way, shape, or form. So you're going to have to explain yourself, young man. Maltese Hammer, thank you for joining us, sir. Usual suspect. I consent to class action lawsuit against these guys for misleading the West Ham faithful. What did we do to mislead you lot? That may have been that there was a wrong link put up yesterday and they've all clicked on it yesterday. So that's probably what it is, but we'll see. Brendan, thank you for joining us, mate. That was an elaborate and late April Fool's prank. Still, those of us who turned up can call ourselves the Bollock Brothers. Mate, it wasn't my fault, actually. I won't say who it was, but he does work at the stadium. I won't tell you who it was that did that. It wasn't me. Maltese, if I get no satisfaction in court, then I'm afraid I'm going to have to send the Wheelstone Raider round to sort them two out. Yeah, you know. And the gentleman that will be joining us soon is in the chat. Good evening to you, Keith. Thank you for joining, mate. Steve Tiley. Good evening, Steve. Steve. Evening, Budge, Cieran, and all. Hello, Steve, mate. And 15 to 20 years we've been scraping our backside along the bottom of the Premiership. At least David Moyes has been bouncing along at the top and runs plus a little trophy. Yeah.
He did, Mike. He did.
Good morning, Alan. Another fellow Oz or expat, if you want to call him that. Probably don't realise how popular they are when you see how many were watching after being misled. Guys, I had no idea that had happened. I am really, really, really apologetic. But obviously wasn't our fault. And you should know, we do the old school thing on Wednesday night, not on a Tuesday. We never do anything on a Tuesday.
Oh, was that right? Was it put up on the wrong date?
Yeah, it looks that way, mate. Mark Pendleton, here we go again. He says, take two. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you for joining.
Jesus, I've just got out of fucking bed and all I get is fucking slaughtered here. I ain't done nothing. I've done fuck all.
About 15 of us sat in the chat like lemons last night because someone put your thumbnail up 24 hours early.
Right, that's that fucking Rusty Bede. Fucking, I'm grassing him up, Rusty Bede. Fucking simple as that. He's getting grassed. I'm not having it. I ain't getting all this shit.
Wasn't me grassing, Russ. Wasn't me.
Sorry, lads, but it was Rusty Bede.
Brendan, evening Budgie, Cieran chatters, especially the hardcore one last night. Fuck's sake. They will probably do a moise and blame the others in the team that work behind the scenes. There you go. He's got it. He's got it.
I've already done it, Alan. I've already grassed him.
Yeah. Saying hello to each other, which is always nice to see. Was there a network chat with Jamie earlier, or was that cancelled too? No, that was last night. That was about 8 o'clock 9 o'clock last night. I'm pretty sure of it. I have no idea. We only work here. We don't run the place. Well, we don't even work here, but we don't get paid. Over the last 15 to 20 years, says Peter Jones, thank you for joining us, Peter. West Ham has been bouncing its backside along the bottom of the Premiership. Things have changed in the last 3 seasons. We are now bouncing along the top, a couple of cups. Yeah. Sterif, good evening to you, sir. I hope all is good with you both. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, and Cieran is good too, by the look of it. Lawrence, thank you for joining us all from
Lawrence,
Kentucky. I reckon you've got that greeting actually saved on your phone. You just copy and paste it.
You think so, wouldn't you?
I can't see him typing that every week or every day. Gary J. Well. Look who's in the house.
Hello, Gary.
In a little while, gal. Thank you for joining us, mate. Garjar, as Happy would call him. Evening all, says Maltese. Barry, good evening, sir. Hiya, gents. Hope you're all good. Very well, thank you. If it gets cold over there, Cieran, says Steve, try the old Ready Brek. Remember that? Yeah. Central eating for kids. Yeah, I never fucking glowed like they said you would. You're lucky, Cieran. It's supposed to be 12 here.
Oh, yeah. And of course, Alan's down south, isn't he? He's in New South Wales, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or Victoria. Yeah. No, New South Wales, Alan. Yeah, 12 down there. Yeah, so I say I shouldn't be moaning about it getting down to 23 degrees, but you do notice it. Like I say, the boys down there, mate, they'll be getting seriously cold too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good evening, Wasim. Thank you. Lawrence is there again. Stuart, good evening, Stuart. Thank you for joining, mate.
Shoot.
Peter, last 25 years. We've had that one about 3 times now. How many times do you want to post it? All right, Budgie, it's official. I'll be heading across the pond in September. Excellent. So does that mean you're going to be getting any games? And if that is the case, we have got to meet up and get you in the Carpenters, mate. Yeah. Go. Posted the show for 4:30. Oh, is that your time, 4:30, Lawrence?
Imagine so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's 10:30 UK time, whatever time it is around the world. It's always 10:30 UK time because that's the time that suits Cieran as well. Maltese, Lawrence, your comments always make me want to visit Lexington, Kentucky.
No. Maltese, I wouldn't bother, mate. It's full of weirdos like Lawrence.
Billy Bob's in the house. Good evening, Billy Bob. I've gently crossed
Billy Bob.
the like button. Thank you, sir. And everyone else, please.
Well, there's one.
There's one, yeah. And I'm going to add to the stage Mr. Knight. Good evening, Keith.
Oh, Budgie. Good morning, Cieran.
Good. Yeah, and good evening to you, Keithy. How are you, mate?
Well, I'm all right, chaps. I'm all right. I'm all right. I've been on another stream prior to this for 2 hours talking about toys, vintage toys. So I've de-stressed myself by talking about toys. Now I'm going to get stressed out by talking about football and referees. So,
yeah, mate.
I'm amongst friends. So I'm okay.
That's it, mate. And anything goes. Anything goes on this show. Just go through a few more of the comments. Just like to say, Moy's out. Yep, I'm with you on that now. Maltese respect, mate. Thank you. Moy's out. Says Billy Bob. I'll double that. He says, what else? Ian's in the house. Good evening, Ian R. You two had no contact with any of us. That was the issue. That's what the issue was. Because apparently there was about 15 people in the chat last night because it was posted by yesterday with the wrong date and that on it. So gonna have words with
Rusty beat.
Steve Cox is in the house. Huzzah, evening, gents.
Steve.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, look. I think we've covered it. Oh, James Lee, throwing Russ directly under the bus. I dig it. Yeah, mate. Well,
right, James Lee. I've got no qualms to doing that, mate. None.
Russ should come on and say sorry for last night.
You should fucking know, Steve.
Budgie's Mankini smugglers. Very nice. You're not going to be seeing none of that. Barry Clark's in the house. Alex TikTok was last night. Jamie was meant to be on. I was waiting and then it got taken down.
Oh, mate.
Okay. Right. Well. Oh, that one, so I know where I am. And let's introduce. Let's welcome you properly, Keith. How have you been, sir? How's your health been? Because you weren't well last time we arranged to have you on.
No, that's right, mate. No, still getting there, still recovering. Unfortunately, it's a life of excess. It's finally catching up with me because apart from being a referee, apart from being an ex Rosa or a retired Rosa, I also played bass guitar for 40 years, and I was in a like a heavy metal band for about 6 years, and of course, you know that kind of lifestyle. So I've had a very interesting life so far. I've had a very interesting life. And it's all catching up with me now, mate. It's all stacking up on me.
Yes. So it's been a case of police, thugs, and
rock and roll.
And rock and roll.
Yeah. I've had some interesting times, Keith, but I can't tell you about them.
Mate, I've got no authority anymore. I've got no badge anymore. Apart from this one.
I don't care.
I'm even retired from that now. So,
mate, there was a fucking helicopter hovering over my house yesterday, and I got nervous. So
you know what? I spent 20 years in the Met, and I still used to, even when I was serving, I used to shit myself if I got a police car behind me when I was driving home. And I still do to this day. I think it's just a Cockney thing. We're just naturally guilty of it.
Yeah, guilty until proven innocent. Yeah, I know.
Everyone felt like that though, didn't they, back then? Yeah. You had a cop behind you, you got nervous. Yeah. Really, everyone did. Yeah.
I did yesterday. I had a copper behind me yesterday. I got well nervous because it was my daughter driving with L plates on and that. And I'm thinking, here we go. I've had a joint. I'm going to get done. But being in charge of a vehicle under the influence and all that bollocks. But they didn't stop. So that was the result. And then later on in the evening, my nephew has a crash on his motorbike and gets done for being under the influence of cannabis.
Oh, dear.
Is he all right?
Yeah, he's all right. He smashed his hand up a bit and so on and so forth. Yeah, a car pulled out in front of him and he T-boned it.
Oh.
So, yeah. brand new bike and all. Well, I say brand new. It's actually a 20-year-old bike, one that he's wanted ever since he was a kid. An Aprilia 125 or something. Nice bike, you know, nice gunmetal grey, all that. But it's a bit black now, actually, because it's been down the road on its side. But yeah, he's all right. He's doing all right, thankfully. Right, let's get on.
As long as he's all right, that's the main thing, mate.
Of course, yeah. Let's get to the subject matter in hand. So, Keith, I've been waiting to talk to you for a while, as you know, about the refereeing debacle that we've had in the last few years, even. But let's not go too far back. How have you kind of viewed the way referees are performing? Let's just take this season into account for now. How have you viewed the refereeing and the VAR, implementation? I mean,
the last time I was on your show with you two chaps, I think I was in a bit of a rant mode, and I was probably a little bit too loud and a bit sweary. But I've calmed down since then, but only just a little bit calmed down, because every week there is a new controversy, and it's almost like the referees are trying to be the star of the show, and that's not the way it should be. Now, I only refereed at grassroots, but I've refereed from under sevens right up to Veterans League. One of the games that I did for a veterans charity match was against a team from Holland at Charlton Athletics ground. So I've actually refereed at a Premier League ground, because Charlton was still Premier League when that happened.
Right.
They had the full hospitality and everything else, and I was chosen as the man in the middle. I picked my own assistant referees, my own fourth official.
Yeah.
And it was an absolutely fantastic experience. So I've done everything. I've done women's football, girls' football, mixed football. I could pick half a dozen grassroots referees that would do a better job with more integrity and more honesty than any six at random of the current Premier League referees. And if I still had legs, to be able to run around, I would include myself in that. I'm a passionate West Ham fan. Before I became qualified as a referee with a football association, I was a physio stroke coach for an under 15 side that my nephew played for.
Right.
I used to referee all their games. When I qualified, I then started refereeing all their games. But I never let them have a fucking thing, not a thing. If they deserved it, they got it. But I never did them one favour. And
kind of like the Big Brother syndrome, yeah? Your big brother's behind you all the way, but when you fuck up, he kicks you up the arse.
Yeah, but the thing is, for me, being a referee was not too dissimilar from being a copper.
Right.
You know, you have got to be absolutely fair. You're not there to even it up. I hear people say, "Oh, these decisions, they even themselves up over a season." They don't. Trust me, they really, really don't. Because when decisions go against you, it's normally at an absolutely critical time of the game,
and then them points are never recoverable.
That's never recovered. So you might get a penalty a bit later against, say, Burnley, and you might get a 1-1 draw out of it, but that doesn't compensate you for the disallowed goal against Man United in the quarter-final of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So when people say it evens itself up, it doesn't. And from a personal experience, if I knew that I made a mistake on the football pitch, and I'm honest, I'm completely honest, I fucked up. I've made mistakes. If I knew that I'd made a mistake, I would immediately undo that. Once players restarted, you cannot undo it. It cannot be undone. It's set in stone. That's it. That's the laws of association football. Yeah. But if I knew that I'd made a mistake, or if I'd be convinced, not influenced, but be convinced that I've made a mistake, I would undo it. there and then, whether that be a card or whether that be a decision.
Right.
But I would not then, if I'd made a mistake and it had been allowed to continue, I would not then later on in that game think, oh, I need to even this up. I've made a mistake. I need to even this up now and make a mistake for the other team. Because the difference between making a mistake and evening it up is cheating.
Yeah.
One is a mistake that I couldn't help because it was a mistake. But if I then think I'm going to even this up now in the second half by making a mistake, another mistake, that's not a mistake. That's an on purpose, and that becomes cheating.
Yeah.
And the minute the referees start to do that, the game is ruined. And I honestly believe that there are some referees that have passed that stage. Where they are trying to even things up. It's changed from one half to the next. I mean, in our game against Leverkusen, in the first half, the referee was absolutely spot on. The referee got everything right. He was nailed on. In the second half, he ended up giving out 13 yellows and 2 reds to coaching staff. How can one referee change so drastically in 15 minutes? So I'm convinced that it was said to him at half time. By who, I don't know, and what, I don't know what. But something was said, because at half time he completely changed the way that he refereed that game. And no one can tell me that's just...
Keith, let me ask you another question. Yeah, no, I know where you're coming from. Let me ask you another question then. Have you ever been asked to do anything dishonest in the game?
A couple of times, yeah. And I'll say this. I won't say which team it was, but it's a team that's in the. I'm not sure if they're in the National League South or something like that. But it was a friendly. It was actually only a friendly, a pre-match friendly at a stadium, a Ryman League ground, as they used to be known as.
Yeah.
And the manager walked into the referee's office. I weren't the referee. I was one of the assistant referees. I was the senior assistant referee.
Right.
The referee was younger than me. He was a London referee, whereas me and my other assistant and the fourth official were all Kent referees.
Right. Yeah.
And this manager walked in and he's having a chat. The manager for the home team, obviously, and he's having a chat with everybody. All right. And he went, "You do realise, of course, it's only a friendly, so my lads might go in a little bit hard, but I don't want any cards. I don't want anyone being carded, no one being sent off. There might be we've had a bit of grief with this team before, And he starts putting out all these proposals, and so the referee who was didn't actually say much, but I'm outspoken. I've always been outspoken. And I just said, hold on a minute. I said, no. I'm sorry. I said, you cannot walk in here and ask us not to give cards out. That's not on. I'm not having that. If a player deserves a card, he gets a card, whether it's a friendly or whether it's a charity game.
Yeah, or even a cup game or whatever. Anything.
I don't care if there's nothing to play for. If it's a friendly, you've just said to me it's only a friendly. I don't want no cards. But there's a bit of rivalry between us and them, so our players are going to go in quite hard. Well, hold on a minute, then it's not a friendly. And if you're not going to treat it as a friendly, then neither are we. So I mean, that's not quite corruption, but it was an example of somebody at grassroots trying to sort of say, I don't want any more players being carded. And I've had managers and stuff at kids level say to me, "Oh, you've sent my player off. Don't put it through, ref. Don't put the paperwork through. So we don't really want any fines." And again, it's not exactly corruption, but it is, because if I don't do that, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, then I lose my referee match. I lose. And I have had. I must admit, I won't mention his name, which is a shame, because the guy was a very, very good friend of mine. He managed an under 13s, 14s, and then 15s, and I refereed all their games for a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
And he actually said to me, Keith, I wouldn't want you to cheat for me, because if I thought that a referee was cheating for me, if I thought my players couldn't win on their own backs,
on their own merit,
they were being helped by a referee, then I would quit football.
Right.
I'd quit football. And he was probably the most honest manager that I ever worked with, because that was his attitude. I don't want referees cheating for me. If I'm not good enough to win without you cheating for me, then I don't want to even be playing. And it's the word cheating is a really, that's a really real red zone, because are these referees cheating, or are they just basically so incompetent they shouldn't even be doing the job in the first place?
I would say the latter, if I'm honest.
I
would say that the referees are incompetent. I think also the same goes with the VAR as well. But that's how I see it. Cieran, anything you want to ask?
No, I did. Look, we're in a new era now, aren't we, with VAR? And that's changed. That's changed the whole refereeing aspect of it. And probably statistically, we're getting more decisions right because of it. But the frustrating part of it is, I don't think we're using it right. I really don't. The frustrating part for fans and players is the amount of time it takes to make a decision on VAR. Are the referees getting it right, getting it wrong? The referees will always make mistakes. I've never had a problem with that. Never. If it's an honest mistake by a referee, I'll accept that. It's fucking annoying when you're a fan, because, especially if it's, a bad mistake and you're playing Man United or Liverpool, because I do believe there was a bias towards Liverpool and Man United in the 70s and the 80s, because you had Alex Ferguson and whatnot. They did seem to get them decisions that we didn't, but that was always the case. I think he shouted loudest, didn't he, Ferguson? And he seemed to get results out of it. I think VAR could be a good thing. I just don't think we're using it right. And the point in case was that Nottingham Forest Everton game, where Forest had 3 penalty shouts. Now, and if you take, or just look at it, I looked at it as a footballing point of view. I looked at all 3 decisions. The handball, I'm sick of this handball being given all the time. I reckon it's not a handball, but it is, because I've seen it given in every other bloody game. They didn't get the handball. And I agree with that. But all games should be there. If you're running and your arm's out a little bit and it hits it, it shouldn't be a fucking handball. But we've seen it in many other games that given. So there's one that lost out. The other one, the boy did make contact with him. But I'm a believer, contact doesn't mean a foul. And as soon as he tapped him on the back of the leg, he dropped his legs. And I see that as a footballer. I say, no, it's not really a foul. But I've seen it given in loads of other games. Yeah. But the third one was just a direct fucking Young coming straight through Hudson-Odoi. And Hudson-Odoi gets his foot there first. And he takes him from behind and out. Now, when you hear that referee talking, when you heard the talkie thing, he said straight away, no, Young got there first. And yet the VAR should have said, mate, no, he didn't actually. Hudson-Odoi did. And then bring him to the monitor to look. But they didn't. They went, yeah, fair enough, play on. Yeah. The incompetence in that respect weren't the referee, it was the VAR. They should have, he'd obviously made a mistake thinking that Young had got to the ball first, right? And he said it. He thought, no, Ashley Young got there first. He didn't. And why he couldn't have been sent to the monitor, I don't know. That's the incompetence of the VAR. And I think that's what's highlighting the problems with referees, because I think referees, this is meant to make it easier for them. I think it's making it harder. I really do. And when you listen to the commentary, that's even worse, because they all sound like under so much pressure to make a decision right. I'm like, honestly, it's terrible what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
There's a similar. Budgie, sorry, mate. Can I just quickly jump in? Lawrence Watkins said to me, "Is that a Navy man over my shoulder?" Yes, it is. I collect vintage Action Man and vintage G.I. Joe toys, and that is a vintage G.I. Joe US Navy Shore Patrol figure. And he says that he salutes me as an ex-Navy man himself. So, Lawrence, I will give you a Metropolitan Police salute back. Much respect, mate, for your service, and thank you for that. Sorry, Budgie, carry on, mate.
No, that's fine. I'll get to the comments in a second anyway. The other point that I wanted to bring up was when we played Newcastle and Calvin Phillips was penalised and a penalty given against him for the challenge on Gordon when Gordon came in from behind him and took the ball.
Yes, yeah.
And he kicked Gordon and a penalty was given. Now, on Sunday, in the Arsenal game, Declan Rice nearly took a man's nuts off.
Yeah.
And nothing was given for exactly the same scenario.
No, he got a penalty for that.
He got the penalty.
He got fuck all. Did he?
Yeah, he got the penalty. Yeah.
It played on Budge, but they reviewed it and he did get the penalty.
Yeah.
I must have missed that because I was probably ranting in the pub, ranting about the Calvin Phillips scenario.
Yeah.
You know, but there's still.
I totally agree with you, Cieran, on this. I totally agree with you 100%, mate. The problem with football at the moment, the problem with football and the way it's going is that it's going to become a non-contact sport. It's almost going to become like fencing, where you've got players are already wired up anyway to get all their personal stats for the TV. Yeah. You know, these bras they wear are all wired up with joggers and counters and stuff. Eventually, there will be a microchip in there somewhere that says, if I've been touched, it will send a signal to the VAR office, and the VAR office will then press a red button, and the referee will hear it and go, "It's a foul," you know,
right?
Because they're trying to turn it into a non-contact sport, and that's absolute utter bollocks. I think that this treading on the foot thing, the Calvin Phillips and Gordon business, is treading on somebody's toe a foul? Is it? I mean, it is now. It is now, but let's be honest about it. How many times have you ever trod on someone's fucking toe and gone, "Oh shit, sorry, mate"? Whether it be in the pub,
did it last night in the pub.
Exactly, absolutely. Dancing.
Yeah, yellow, Budge, yellow.
You know, I mean, you've got as a referee, you've got to be able to know the difference between what is nasty and what is just a genuine attempt. And that's what I've always said about swearing as well, you know, especially at grassroots. You know, you get people using all kinds of colourful language. Well, you've got housing estates that back on right to the football grounds. And there were complaints being made by some neighbours. Oh, every Sunday we're being barraged with abuse from sort of like drunken, you know, working man's teams over the Jackie Bakers or whatever. But and I used to say to the players, look, if somebody misses an open goal from 5 yards out and goes, "Oh, you fucking," excuse my language, I'm not going to send them off because that's frustration. Frankly,
but if he says "fuck you, ref," then he's gone.
If he says, "Ref, you're a fucking cunt," then he's going up the road. He's going. Yeah. He's got, and that's the difference. That's the difference.
Of course, that should always be the difference. I mean,
but unfortunately,
it's an emotional game, mate. Everyone's emotional. Simple as that.
But unfortunately, Cieran, the referees don't seem to have that microchip in their head anymore. That chip's been taken out, and it's now just everything's a fucking yellow card, everything's a red card, everything's a, you know, and stepping on someone's foot is now a penalty. Well,
yeah,
you could.
I don't know. I don't like to blame the referees. I really don't, because I think it's the way we keep changing the rules. I mean, the handball law now has been changed. Nobody knows what's going on with that. I mean, it's madness. And it shows that then if you a little bit of contact in the box is a foul, it's not. It's not. And I just can't see where we're going with this, because there's more penalties than ever being given for this. When you got defenders running with their hands behind their back, does my head in. Yeah. I'm a defender nearly all my life, and how the fuck are you meant to teach kids that and defend that? What, put your hands behind your back? That's not normal. That's not the game. Come on. Honestly, I can see players hitting the ball at someone, hoping it hits their hand, hoping it hits their arm, and might get a penalty from it. And there's a good chance they will. It's crazy. That's why I agreed with the one at Evan, the penalty with a handball. I agreed with it shouldn't be. But like I said, I've seen less ones than that being given in other games, and that just does my head in. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. So it's the law. Stop tinkering with the laws.
And I think further to that, I think the directive of assistant referees not to flag and leave it up to VAR, I think that is an absolute time bomb waiting to
It's a good thing, Keith, but the obvious ones, really, just stick your flag up, mate. Is a yard. Come on. Absolutely. Put your flag up. Trust yourself.
We was always told at referee school, right, at referee academy, you've got to be 100% right in your own mind, otherwise you don't give it, right? And it sounds simple. It's not simple, because it's nothing that simple. But I've been assistant referee many times. I've been fourth official many times. I actually think it's harder to be an assistant referee than it is to be the man in the middle. I used to enjoy being the flag man, but it's a bloody hard job. It's a lot harder than being a referee, because your eyesight has got to be like that.
You've got to look two things. You've got to look at when the boy kicks the ball and that line when he's kicked it. And
you've got to be able
I'll tell you what,
at the same time.
I think linesmen get it right more often than they don't, because to me, that when your body was in line, that was onside and he wouldn't flag. But nowadays, that big toe, he ain't going to flag because his big toe offside. He can't see that. You know what I mean? Now we're flagging for a shoulder being offside or an arse.
What concerns me with the amount of money that's in the game, what concerns me is that eventually, and you can see it happening, it might not happen in the Premier League, but it'll happen somewhere in professional football where VAR is being used. An assistant referee will keep their flag down. Obviously, players will carry on playing as if it was a live game, and someone will get seriously fucking injured, either a goal.
I think it's already happened.
Or an attacker, a broken leg, a life-changing injury, and then after all that, VAR says, well, actually, you would have been offside anyway. Why didn't the linesman at that point put his flag up? Because a referee has got a duty of care, and that is something else that is hammered into us, no pun intended, hammers, but that's something else that's hammered into us. We have a duty of care. The referee is there for one reason and one reason only, or maybe two reasons, okay, to make sure the game is played fairly and to make sure it's played safely. We are there for no other reason. To make sure it's played fair and to make sure it's played safe. Player safety.
I'll accept mistakes.
Yeah. So if
it's the directives they're under could be the problem with that. But I agree with letting the play go when it's really tight. But I've seen even this week, the guy's 2 yards offside and he leaves the flag down. I'm going, come on, son, back yourself here. Back yourself.
I agree. That's disgraceful.
But I have seen an odd referee do it, where the guy was just, half a yard offside, and he whacked. He put his flag up. He didn't hesitate. But different for everyone, isn't it?
I think it differs on the level of experience of the of the referee. I mean, I worked a couple of times with Steve Bennett. I don't know how many, if you remember Steve Bennett. He used to be a Premier League referee, and he retired now. And he used to be a FIFA referee. He was one of our World Cup referees. Then there was another referee that I knew quite well called Martin Yerby, who was a Premier League assistant referee. And they were pretty spot on before the days of VAR, obviously, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the thing, Keith. I don't remember the good referees. I remember the bad ones.
This is the problem, mate. This is the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem. And what really annoyed me, and because we haven't actually touched on it yet, the Liverpool game at the weekend. Delighted to have got a point. I mean, as it happens, a point's no good for either of us. It's not really any good for West Ham, and it's not really certainly not very good for Liverpool. But a 2-2 draw against Liverpool, the way we've been playing just lately, you've got to take it. But I've got to say, that bit of refereeing by Anthony Taylor, the Gakpo incident. Now, I watched a YouTube video, and I can't for the life of remember whose channel it was. It might have even been a news channel, a sports news channel. But I watched a YouTube video, a short, where Dermot Gallagher, who is he's the referee pundit on that show. I think it used to be BT Sport or someone like that.
TNT Sports, I think it is now. Yeah.
That's it, mate. Yeah, I think it's one of them. Yeah, and he, Dermot Gallagher, ex-Premier League referee, again, quite a respectable referee. He's now retired. He's still a member of the PGMOL or a member of FMOA or whatever.
Yeah,
but he's not up there. He's not actually being paid by anybody up in the FA. And he came on and he was talking about it, and he was saying that Anthony Taylor's basically what he said was that Anthony Taylor had fucked up. He made a mistake. There's no reason why he should have done what he did, and that was absolutely ludicrous. But what he actually went on to say was, and I quote, he said, "I was quite impressed. I thought he dug himself out of it quite well. I thought he dug himself out of it quite well."
Which situation is this? The Areola one.
Yeah. There is absolutely nothing in the laws of association football that says that Anthony Taylor should be stopping that game at that point. Gakpo had every right to go in there and score a goal.
Yeah,
every right to score a goal. Now look, I've been a West Ham fan since the day I popped out of my good old ma, rest her soul. But I have to be absolutely honest.
Yeah, I didn't see why he stopped the game there. I don't know. Still don't know.
Areola fucked up big time. That's from a professional, from an international goalkeeper to do something like that. That is a major fuck up. I had to presume that maybe he blew a whistle at some stage. Yeah, the referee. I didn't know. Nobody tells you. You don't know when you're watching it. And you think, has he blown the whistle there? Why is he throwing the ball? The referee blew the whistle as Gakpo started to make towards the loose ball, because he hesitated and looked behind him. And at that point, Anthony Taylor's blown the whistle and given. And I have no idea what he blew the whistle for, because there's no foul, there's no offside. So he's blown the whistle just to stop the game. Anyway. Yeah. Seems that way. Yeah. And even though I wouldn't like West Ham to score that goal up the other end either. You know what I mean? It is a bit too bob, but it's still, it's a fuck up. And somehow he decided to stop the game, which anyway. Anthony Taylor is the Premier League's top referee. He's probably currently on about 147,000 a year, and he gets £1,100 match bonus. That standard pay that he's on is a fixed amount of money regardless. He gets a £1,100 match bonus for every game he middles. So when it comes down to corruption, referees don't need to be corrupt. They're paid more than enough. When I used to referee games for 15 fucking quid a game, and I've turned down a 20 quid backhander to give penalties, because it's about integrity, it's about honesty.
Yeah, of course it is.
I used to get paid 15 fucking quid a game at grassroots.
Yeah. I just want to say, I want to give you a massive, shout out for wearing the top that you're wearing at the moment, Keith. Kick it out and all that. Love that. This is an official Kick It Out shirt in claret and blue, because Kick It Out actually do the colours of all 92 Premier League teams, so you can buy your own colours. Right. In this shirt.
And this is an official FA referee Three Lions badge.
Nice, nice.
Which has been
I've
printed
got to correct you though. There's not 92 Premier League teams. There's 92 league teams.
Sorry, 92 league English Football League teams. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, if there were 92 Premier League
I'm just
teams,
being pedantic, Keith. You know,
how long would the season? 92 Premier Leagues. How long would the season be? Fucking hell.
Fucking hell. Oh God, that's hang on, right? That's 91 times. That's 182 games a season. Nah, I don't think it works.
I want to see 4 less. Get rid of that top 4, then fuck off and do the Super League. That'd be even better.
Yeah, that'd be good. Just want to say evening to the people that have joined the chat since
evening chaps.
Yeah, Leslie and Luke Bailey, Infamy Junkie, Happy Amoret, Cyclops. Who else has come in? There's one, Leslie Barden. Anyway, there's a few of you that have joined us recently, so thank you very much for that. Yeah, I mean, look, we all know that referees can and do make mistakes, and I think 99% of people accept that. But it's when a precedent has been set and then it's not followed by any other referees in any other games anywhere else at any other point, that's when it starts getting frustrating for me. You know, like, for example, the Rice thing at the weekend and the Phillips thing. I mean, Phillips was carded as well as thing, but Rice didn't get a card, nothing like that. So I would have thought that the precedent had already been set with Phillips for that kind of event. You know, and they were very similar. You know, very similar in that the player that was given the penalty came in from behind.
Yeah,
came for the ball from behind. Now, you can't be expected to know what's happening behind you because you ain't got fucking eyes in the back of your head.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, you know, if I'm honest with you, I thought that tackling from behind was illegal in the game anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how are they getting away with getting penalties if they're coming in to tackle from behind, which is illegal in the game? You know, these are the points that are really frustrating me. I don't know about anyone else, but they fucking frustrate me like you would not believe. And, you know, I kind of said to myself last week or whatever it was, I'm not going to go to any more games this season. I'm fed up with, you know,
Steve.
I didn't realise I'd left that on there. Fucking hell. Oh God!
Didn't he wear a fez? Didn't he wear a fez though?
Oh, possibly, yeah, possibly. But have you seen that meme going around with the Mr. Ben thing where he goes in, he asks for a clown outfit, and they do that magical transformation? He's wearing a Tottenham kit. Fucking hilarious! Absolutely hilarious. But yeah. Oh, Keith's gone.
I'll be back in a second.
All right, mate. There's a comment there for you, so I'll come back to that. Let's start that. People don't care about integrity if there's money involved. Sadly, that's true. Look, that is true. That is true. Yeah. Like Ian R is saying, Keith, am I not correct in thinking that if the keeper throws the ball down for a goal kick, the ball is not in play? Thought the ball needed to be kicked to be in play.
It wasn't a goal kick. It wasn't a goal kick because the ball hadn't gone out of play.
Ariola one. No, he just picked it up.
Ariola caught the ball, and as he fell or as he landed, he hurt himself. It was obviously he hurt himself because he sort of did the but he didn't make a big deal out of it. That's the thing. He didn't make a big job out of it.
The referee told him to sit down, didn't he?
Well, the referee made a signal like that. I'm not quite sure what that signal.
Yeah, I saw him make that signal. I didn't know what it meant. It just pointed. I think his hand went towards the centre circle.
Yeah, I think he was just basically saying, "Play on, carry on."
Yeah,
because that's not a signal. That's not an official signal. That's right. Just a gesture, right?
Right. Yeah.
The ball hadn't gone out of play, so it wasn't a goal kick. It wasn't a goal kick. Areola had thrown the ball then out in front of him by about, 9 feet in front of him. Not even dropped it at his feet. He put it right out there. Then he started all this, all my leg hurts. But he's still not making a big deal out of it. He still wasn't making a big issue out of it. And Gakpo had every right because the ball is in play. The ball is in play. At no point has the ball gone out of play. A free kick wasn't given.
Yeah, it was a strange one.
Referee's whistle hadn't gone.
No. The ball was in. Trust me, the ball was in play.
Yeah.
And
we were very fortunate in that circumstance.
In that respect, absolutely, we were. But the fact that the referee then restarted the game with a dropped ball proves that the ball wasn't out of play, because a referee will only restart the game with a dropped ball if player's been stopped mid-play because of an outside interference or an injury.
Yeah.
Yes. Look, it's like this. VAR, right? This is what we've been suffering at now. How many couple of years? And it doesn't happen in the Championship. And some of the Championship games I've watched this year have been far more entertaining, enjoyable because it's not there. And like some of the people saying in the chat, it is sucking the life out of the game. We're not enjoying it. I think part of not enjoying football is VAR. Even if you get it 100% right, the time it takes, even when you score a goal, I'm always looking, oh, shit. Even though the linesman might not have put his flag up or whatever, they've given the gum right now. I've got to wait for VAR to decide whether I can celebrate that goal. It is sucking the life out of it. And I've noticed during the week, Sweden have knocked it on the head. They say I'm not doing it anymore. I think they've done it and they said, no, we're not doing it. Sweden will make a stand and we're not doing it. And I don't think that'll ever happen in the Premier League, because the people who rule on this is all the CEOs of the Premier League teams, and the ones who whinged the most about getting it in were the top teams because they thought they had been hard done by in a decision. And so I've heard that they voted for the automated offside to be done next season, what they do in European football.
Yeah, semi-automated.
That'd be probably a better step in the right direction, because I never trust these lines that they use, because with filming, when that boy plays that ball forward, when it hits his foot and when it leaves his foot could be 3 or 4 frames. So in that 3 or 4 frames could mean your foot being onside or offside. So it depends when you stop that frame, whether it's just hitting the ball or when it leaves his foot. That can be the difference in offside or not. So if this automated is 100%, I'd rather go that way as well. So that might get rid of that issue. And it'll be done quick.
I mean, you literally. I mean, when that picture is frozen, you're literally talking hundredths of a second. I mean, how on earth can that possibly be accurate when you're talking? And they start to include things like elbows. If an elbow's across the red line, you can't score a goal with your elbow. So why are they counting?
With what elbows? Look, your shoulder can be offside. Your elbow's not. And I think that's weird. But to me, I'd rather go for the last 150 years. If your body is in line, you're onside.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be, look, if 80% of you's onside, you should be onside, but they'll never get to that. Yeah. So they've got to draw a line somewhere, and now it's anything that can score a goal, but now your shoulder, that sleeve now, you can score a goal with, where that used to be handball.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now it's not.
Exactly.
Now it's not. But that shoulder also can make someone onside or offside.
Yeah, exactly.
Just want to say quick hello to Lee.
I totally agree.
Thank you for saying hello to me twice, by the way, mate.
Hello, chaps.
Sure you
yeah, well done, Lee. Never mind me, Lee. Fucking hell. Bollocks. Anyway.
Question for Keith. When the feck did obstruction become shepherding the ball out of play?
But quite a long time ago, Neil.
Yeah, it used to be called impeding rather than obstruct. Well, I think it was called obstruction at first, then it was called impeding, and I think it's still called impeding now. The
It's
problem
very
is,
rarely given now, isn't it? An obstruction, very rarely given.
it is, yeah, it is, but
Really, yeah, it's gone out of the game, sort of. Yeah.
the thing that really pisses me off is what I would give in that situation as obstruction or impeding. Another referee wouldn't, because it's their opinion and it's their interpretation of the laws.
Exactly.
And this is why when people say there's no
consistency.
Consistency. Thank you, Budgie. The word escaped me for a minute. There's no consistency between referees, and this is why. And this is exactly why there will never be consistency, because my opinion might be different to Cieran's, and Cieran's might be different to Budgie's, and Budgie's might.
Because it's subjective. Them decisions are subjective.
Absolutely.
So you can't have with the offside now. It's not according to them. It's not. It's you're either off or you're not. Whether it's your big toe or your shoulder, or whatever, you're off or not. That's it. But with a lot of decision referees, it needs to be subjective, and really, that's a good thing for the game. You need, I don't want a robot out there that just waits for VAR to make every decision. I need him to make that decision for right or wrong. The idea of VAR is to correct him if he makes a howler. That's it.
Absolutely.
But they're even getting that wrong up there, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
And I'd rather. I just enjoy watching the championship when they've scored a goal and they straight away look at the linesman. If his flag is down and that referee's pointing to the spot, that's it. Everyone can carry on, celebrate. That's it. You can't now.
Look at the Coventry Man United game. Look at the Coventry Man United semi-final. 3-0 down.
Oh, man. Oh, how heartbreaking was that for Coventry, mate? I mean, it's big toe, wasn't it?
But the experts are saying that it shouldn't have been given as offside because the lines were drawn incorrectly. And it gets back to what you were saying, Cieran. You're talking about hundredths of a second of play. Yeah. So how can any human eye say that is therefore offside?
Yeah.
And in the old days, I sound like a right old cunt, don't I? But in the old days, the benefit of the doubt was given to the attacker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's the problem with this offside thing, with these drawing lines. Like I said, if that guy, whoever is in the VAR, stopping the film, if he'd stopped it, a second earlier or say that makes the difference. Absolutely. When it's leaving his foot. So he had 99% of his body onside.
Yeah, absolutely.
To knock Man United out of the FA Cup at Wembley for them Coventry fans. What a brilliant day that would have been.
Yeah.
But that's it. 99% of his body's onside, and he gets offside for the 1%. It doesn't seem right, does it?
Yeah, but then
it's manifestly unfair. And the thing that really pisses you off is that, from Coventry's point of view, if that had been a championship game, they'd have won that game 4-3.
They would have won. They're through. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I do get all of that, and just being devil's advocate for a minute, you're saying that 99% of his body was onside, 1% of it was offside. It should have been kept as an onside. If you flip that and say, right, somebody's just walked out of a shop with 10 items and they paid for 9 of them and stolen 1 of them, does that mean that they can walk?
Okay. Absolutely.
Absolutely. 90% of their.
Done it yesterday, bud.
It's not. No, because each item is individually taken into consideration. So they wouldn't be arrested. They wouldn't be arrested for the 9 items they paid for. They'd just be arrested for the 1 item they didn't pay for.
Yeah. Fucking send them to prison. Put them away. Fuck them. 10 years.
Throw away the key.
I tell you what, if I were making rules in this world, believe me, we'd need to build another 100 prisons tomorrow. They'd all be in Nick, mate. I'd nick everyone. Fuck 'em.
Damien, I did notice your question about who would we want as the manager next season and stuff. Not getting into that tonight. Not getting into that at all. We're talking about VAR, referees, and other mugs. Not managers.
And why we didn't beat Liverpool? We weren't good enough. Oh man, do you know what? I used to get grabbing a point off Liverpool. Usually was an exciting, great thing. I was so bored in that game, and I stayed up to watch that. It was a nice time for me. It was 9:30 at night when that kicked off.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, I was just, really, that was it. It's a shame. I just think that season's just
Liverpool by their normal standards were absolutely shit. They were absolutely
very average, right?
And to be honest, they were lucky to come away with a point. They were lucky. They scored two massively. I'm not being disingenuous. They scored two massively scrappy, lucky goals. We scored two fucking world-class goals from set piece headers.
Two great headers. Two cracking headers, mate.
You know, and they were robbed at the end by potentially. There's no guarantee that Gakpo would have scored that. Areola might have sprung into action and
maybe
himself. There's no guarantee that that's a goal. That's not a guarantee.
Well, does that go back that he should have let the play on, let him bang it in the net, and then decide?
And then let VAR decide, because that would have been interesting as a referee.
I don't know what they would have come up with, Chief. What the hell would they come up with then?
How would VAR have disallowed that?
Yeah, I don't see how they could.
There's nothing. Yeah. There's nothing in the law book that says that.
Yeah, we got away with one there. It's nice. Yeah. We've been on the wrong end of decisions before against Liverpool, so it's nice to get one. I suppose.
Liverpool were lucky. Liverpool were lucky to get they're saying they were robbed, but I
thought the treble deflection goal was brilliant. Off Bonner, Souček saves it on the line, smacks it in the Areola scores. Even old Bonner was laughing. I was laughing, right? I was laughing. Old Bonner was laughing.
It came off three of our players, didn't it?
What the fuck happened there?
It came off three of our players, didn't it? It came off.
Old Bonner, old Souček, then Areola.
Oggy, Souček, and he went down as Areola's own goal. The ball cunt. I'd have given it his own goal.
He must be fuming. Fuming.
Let's just go to this comment quickly. I can't imagine this guy being a ref, says Damien, obviously meaning you, Keith. Well, let me tell you something. He used to be a police officer as well. And in his time as a police officer, what was the name of the organisation that you were part of, the football violence thing? What was that called?
I was in the FIU for a little while, the Football Intelligence Unit. But I was also I can't go into too much details here, but I was part of I served in the territorial support group for the last few years of my service, which is how I got injured, which is how I ended up with missing 4 teeth. But all of our officers on our particular serial used to wear West Ham shirts underneath our uniform.
Always steady.
We were all West Ham fans. We were all West Ham fans, and we wore West Ham shirts underneath our uniform.
Did you do any West Ham fans? Any favours?
When people say people used to say to me all the time, because I was a bass player in a heavy metal band, and I used to wear jeans, cowboy boots, and a motorcycle jacket covered in Motorhead patches and Iron Maiden patches. I've got both my ears pierced. I've got tattoos, fucking great tattoos.
Yeah.
And people used to say to me, "You don't look nothing like a copper," and I'd say, "Well, that's because I don't really want to look like a copper when I'm not being a copper."
That's the exact point, isn't it?
I wear a uniform. I wear a uniform when I'm at work, and when I'm enjoying myself, I don't wear a uniform. So, but yes, I qualified as a football association referee with a county football association. That was Kent County Football Association in about 2007. And I refereed all over.
It has been in this century then.
Sorry?
It has been in this century then.
It has been in this century, yeah. So, but I've been a West Ham fan longer than I've been a policeman and a referee. So
yeah, of course.
I'll
And I mean, to hear that police officers under their uniform would wear, their club shirt, regardless of whether it's West Ham or Tottenham, Chelsea, whoever, the fact that the police officers wore their team shirts under their uniform kind of gives me a little bit more faith in them rather than, the starched collar brigade. Do you know what I mean by that? It's kind of, it gives you a bit more humanity.
I don't know. When they were chasing me on them horses down Green Street, didn't think that.
They didn't give a fuck who you supported. No, of course not.
No, they didn't care, mate.
Changing the subject slightly, and
I've seen some absolutely fantastic moments over Upton Park, and at away games at Highbury, at the Den, obviously the old Den, and at Wimbledon's ground. Oh, what was Wimbledon's ground called? Vetchfield.
Plough Lane.
Wimbledon. Plough Lane. That's right. Vetchfield was Swansea, wasn't it?
Yes,
Lane, and the old White Hart Lane as well. We used to do attachments all over there, and I've done plain clothes duties as well in some of those games, infiltrating. Because of course the tattoos and the earrings, I just
immediately kind of distracts you.
People say I can't imagine him being a copper or a referee. Well, look, we just, believe it or not, we are just ordinary people that just do extraordinary jobs.
Yeah,
that's it.
I love this comment here. Mark says, great line of Geo's from earlier. If Moyes goes to Russia, he'll be the only person there not attacking anyone.
Yeah, not that, Mark.
Oh, yeah, that's brilliant. Well done. Well done for bringing that to our attention. Thank you, Mark. That's brilliant. Oh, great. Can we send Moyes to Rwanda with $3,000? You going to put the money up, Mark? I'll drive into the airport.
Poor old Moyes.
You still spend that $3,000 on Danny Ings.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about management, so let's not dwell on that too much. One of my mates came out on license and stole a Ribena and was banged up within 24 hours. Well, that's what you get for committing crimes, mate. I'm no stranger to the inside of a cell either. So, Billy the Fish from Viz. Okay. Oh no, that's more bloody. Right. So there was a comment just a minute ago that the old bill don't turn up for shoplifting for a value under 200 quid. And who was it that said it here? Infamy Junkie. Only 200. Here in California, you can get away with at least £900 worth of merch before the cops bother showing up.
Exactly that. I've seen a lot of that over in California. I think more so because they've got a Democratic fucking leader there. They seem to be able to get away with murder, mate. Go out and clean the shop out and just walk out. Nobody can do anything. Massive problems. I'd hate to be a copper nowadays. I preferred the days back in my day when a copper could give you a slap across the head, or he had some authority. They haven't done that. You know what I mean? They're like fucking social workers now.
I was born in the East End. I was born in Plaistow in 1968. So, and I joined the police 4 days before my 19th birthday.
Right.
So I joined in 1987. And my first station was East Ham, which I thought was fantastic because it weren't too far from where I lived. I still lived at home with mum and dad,
Yeah.
Look, I'm an East End boy. I'm just an ordinary geezer, I joined the police because I wanted to join the police. Always wanted to be a policeman. Don't know why. I just wanted to. Wanted to make a difference.
Keith, just where's East End Nick? Was that opposite the town hall?
That's the one, mate. Yeah.
I went to the college next door, in East Ham Tech.
Oh, the college, yeah, right next door, yeah.
I used to go there when I'd done my apprenticeship. I went there for college.
Oh, brilliant! Well done, mate. Yeah. Well, the college is still there, but the police station's not. A sign of the times.
No, it's not. Same as the one. Did you notice the one at Forest Gate? That's the first time I was in a cell. Was the Forest Gate one? Right, that was. They moved it across the road, didn't they? Brand new spanking. And it was on fire, wasn't it, a couple of months ago? It burned down.
Nick, the top floor completely burned
out. Top floor, mental.
And the locker room, they lost all the PCs that had all their uniform in their lockers. They lost a lot. So the clothing department the next day had to literally work.
Yeah, there was some fire too. I see the YouTube on it about the fire. Fuck me, man. You think for a new building like that, with all the sprinklers and everything else, you wouldn't get that. But there you go.
Anyway. Incredible, mate. Yeah.
Imagine poor Alex Crowell if Moyes turns up at Spartak Moscow next season.
Fuck, he'll be up, sir. He'll be up. Jesus.
Yeah. He'd be putting in the transfer, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Do we think Southgate will have Bowen in the Euro squad this summer?
I think infamy, is it? I think he will. I think he'll be in the squad. Without that, I think he'll get a show in the squad. You'd think so?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and there you go. He deserves it over Rashford. O'Hara is a twat. Well, we know that, Happy.
But Southgate is a funny sort of bloke, isn't he? Because, quite frankly, I think we should win these Euros. I don't see. We got a midfielder: Foden, Bellingham, Rice, Kane up front. Jesus, man, we've got some players in this Euros, mate. I think we should go and win it. I don't see why we shouldn't.
We need to.
It's cool, and I'll make a prediction. Harry Kane's first trophy will be winning the Euros. There you go.
Infamy, I agree with that. I hope Bowen is chosen, and it would be great to see a West Ham player in there. Right. Well, so this VAR thing, do you reckon they're going to sort it out, Keith? Do you think they'll ever be happy with it?
No, it will just get worse until it just becomes like the Uslan bird and disappears up its own arse. They're
never going to be happy.
No, the problem is that when VAR first came out, it was only supposed to be used, or it was only intended to be used for those innocuous offside decisions.
Yeah.
But now it is being used for everything, and that's where I think it's being misused. It's being used beyond its remit.
It's being used off the ball stuff as well. Which
I don't necessarily mind it being used for off the ball incidents.
I was going to say I agree with.
Excuse me. If it's violent conduct and a player needs sending off, then I think that VAR is useful for that purpose.
Yeah.
The same with simulation, with diving. If it becomes absolutely blatantly obvious on a VAR check that a player has fucking dived to try and con a referee into giving a decision, then VAR should get involved in that, and the referee should be giving that player a yellow card. There are people out there that say that it should be a red card. It's not a red card offence. Unfortunately, it isn't. It's a yellow card offence. More players should be getting punished for simulation, because we're seeing it more and more and more. It's creeping into the game.
Yeah.
And despite VAR, footballers are fucking stupid. Let's be honest, they are fucking stupid, because they know that the VAR's there. They know that there's 20 million cameras on them, yet they still cheat. They still do this simulation. And, they'll get a knock. They'll get a knock on the arm, and they'll go down holding their face.
Yeah. harks back to the times of Rivaldo, was it? When the ball bounced up at him in that corner and he held his face. Every camera showed it him on the stomach or something, wasn't it? Or on the leg. I mean,
he got the boy sent off.
Yeah.
He got sent off for that.
Yeah.
Keith, did you know an inspector? What was his name? Oh, Peter Tiley.
No, mate.
Fair enough. There's your answer, Steve. Didn't know.
I retired nearly 20 years ago now. So.
Yeah. Well, Steve ain't no spring chicken, so he's relative may not be either. You know, he's not far behind us.
Steve's a good bloke. He's a good lad.
Yeah, he is. I had a chat with him earlier, actually, on the phone. It was nice. And I'll be meeting up with him for the Luton game, so that'll be good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Right, let's see what else we got here. I wish the board would just put us all out of our misery and declare Moyes is finished.
Yeah.
But that's the point. So now, the point on that I want to make is that I think David Sullivan is holding his cards close to his chest. If he can't get the man he wants or any of the subsequent names that he's after, then he'll just offer Moyes another contract. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think Moyes would probably turn it down, if I'm honest.
Yeah. We've got to remember that they have been consistent all through the season, even Moyes and Sullivan, that no decision will be made to the end of the season. So you're not going to hear whether he's gone or not till after that last game. That's it. They've been saying it all along, and so is Moyes. So regardless whether we want him to stay or want him to go, I think the majority of us would like to see someone new. You won't know till after that last game, no matter how it goes. So you just have to wait and see.
Rog, good evening to you, sir. He says, watching the Champions League, realise the refs keep up with the play and don't even need to rely on the VAR
as much.
And then he goes on to say, hardly even notice VAR in the Champions League, which is true. You don't really see a lot of it. Lynn says that she thinks that we won't win.
That's my only problem there, Lynn. I'm saying we're going to win it, but you're right. He's a bit that worries me. but I do believe we've got a squad to win it. I really do. I don't think Italy, Spain, Germany are the force they used to be. France is a bit of a worry, but all these major European giants are not what they used to be, and we have got a hell of a squad. He's got a hell of a choice to pick from. You know, you've got Kane, but you've got Watkins, you've got Tony. We've got a lot of great midfielders, from Grealish to Maddison. We have got a good Stones. I think might be important for us. Maguire, that sort of goes down when you say Maguire, but it does seem to turn up for England a bit. So but we got Carl Walker, right back, and we have got a good bloody side, mate. So he should have won it last time. He didn't, and I do put that down to him. Jesus Christ, if he can't win this,
I mean, Harry Maguire, I love it. I made up a song of Harry Maguire about 6 months ago, saying you can land a jump jet on his head. It looks like an aircraft carrier. So now Happy will be singing that in her head, and I'll probably get some abuse in a minute. Stuart asks, what do we think about the sin bins idea? No way, not having it. That's ice hockey and all that sort of shit. It's good for that because it's an Americanized idea, not for the beauty.
It's
not in my opinion.
They were indeed, Steve. They were indeed,
Looking for carry on up the jungle.
That's well remembered. Showing your age there now, mate.
Infamy, what news is that? tell us. Well, you will do in a second.
See lots of news about kangaroos and crocodiles. That's about it.
Bottom. The Premier League is expected to approve plans for referees to announce why they have changed their decisions after VAR checks in time for the 24-25 season. Look, now, my opinion on that is, right, now, Keith, you can tell me whether my opinion stinks or not, but my opinion is that the reason referees, linesmen, fourth officials, whatever you want to, however you want to label them, the reason they're not mic'd up for us to hear is because there's a lot of inconsistency in the refereeing circles, as it were, and they don't want us to hear their fuck ups. They don't want us to know that they're making fuck ups, and therefore they're not going to mic up their officials so we can hear it all. They're not going to do that, in my opinion, because I think they want that enigma status about it.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that, but I would actually take it a stage further,
right?
And say, because the way that I see it is exactly the same as you, but I don't think it's mistakes. I think it's influence. I think the word is not mistake. The word is influence. Because I honestly think that what's being said in their earpieces is influential rather than mistaken.
Yeah.
One person can make a mistake. 3 people on the field and 2 people in a room, they can't all make the same mistake at the same time. That's not possible. The law of averages dictates that that's just not possible. Yeah. So when it all goes badly wrong, as it does so often, that's not a mistake. That is, dare I say it, a conspiracy. There's an influence going on there.
Yeah, that's the word.
It's like the referee. I'll get back to the referee in the Leverkusen game. In the first half, that referee was absolutely spot on. Second half, 13 yellows, 2 reds. It was like Jekyll and Hyde. Something had been said at half time. I have no idea what or by who, but something had been said at half time, and his whole approach to that game changed the second half. And I think that's what seems to happen with Premier League referees. Premier League referees have got to be mic'd up. They have got to be mic'd up to the sound system, just like in rugby, just like in cricket, so that not all the time. We don't really want to be hearing what they're saying all the time. But if there's a VAR decision, we want to hear it. The fans have got the right to hear it, especially if it's going to take 5-6 minutes. To make a decision, and that's another thing. That's another thing that's an absolute travesty.
I don't.
It should not.
Even if we do hear it, Keith, if we can hear what they come up, right, it might solve that problem. All right, we know what's happening, but it doesn't change the fact that VAR taking so bloody long is what's ruining the game. What's ruining the enjoyment of the game. That won't change. All you'll hear is while them 2 minutes are going on is them talking. It doesn't change it.
I was going to say that I actually think that because again the laws are that it has to be clear and obvious. The laws on VAR, excuse me, tickling my throat.
Don't die on screen. Just don't die.
If it isn't clear and obvious within 90 seconds, then it never will be.
Yeah.
So they should be given 90 seconds, and that's it. If they can't make a decision in 90 seconds, the original decision stands. That's the way I see it.
And that brings me perfectly to the comment on the screen now. Football is about momentum. The less human it becomes, the less engaging it is. 5 people. That's 1 ref and 4 linesmen, or 4 assistants, we will call them. And VAR for offside would be enough. Of course it would be, but it's just the fact is that the human element is creating the problem. That is the issue. It's the problem is the human element of it all.
The other thing is,
and you know, we don't know if there's an agenda.
The other thing is that what a lot of people don't realise, a lot of people overlook, including the Football Association and the PGMOL. First of all, let me just go off on a tangent. It's now called the PGMOL. It used to be called the PGMOA because I used to be a member of it.
Right.
And it stood for the Professional the Professional Game and Match Officials Association. So it was an association. But now it's called the PGMOL, and the L stands for limited. So it's now a limited company. That tells you all you need to know about the way football has gone. That the referee governing body has gone from an association to a limited company. And there, my lord, is Exhibit A, right there on a plate for you. But the reason why VAR is not working, let's go back to what I was going to try and say, is because when VAR was introduced, it was introduced because there were so many referees making fuck-ups. Those referees have now retired.
Yeah.
New referees are using VAR, which will hopefully help them stop making fuck-ups like the old referees did. But the problem is that those old referees that were making the fuck-ups are now the ones that are sitting in the VAR room. So the VAR decisions are being made by exactly the same referees that fucked up, that necessitated the introduction of VAR in the first place. So it will never work unless the whole thing is completely changed and recruited differently. And this is the problem. The human VAR is not. It's not a machine. It is a machine, but it's not. The end result, the end decision is being made by a human, and that human that's making that decision is the same human that was the reason why VAR was introduced in the first place. Can anyone see what the problem with that is?
Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can see it. You know,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Absolute madness, mate. Absolutely, it infuriates me. And what breaks my heart, as a football fan first, and as a referee second, what breaks my heart is when you hear the fans cheering because a goal's been scored, and then you get that deathly fucking silence.
Yeah, because they don't know whether it's going to be given or not.
And then that goal has been chalked off because of a shitty fucking VAR imperfection by a hundredth of a thousandth of a second. And then the fans are like, well, what?
Yeah.
Well, half the fans are miserable. The other half are all right.
Yeah, but that's like it's just ripping the heart out of the game. It's ripping the soul out of the game. It's ripping the heart and soul out of the game.
It is.
It's taking the enjoyment away, Keith. And so when you go back to that Man United Coventry, I mean that fucking offside decision, by a big toe. I mean, what a story that would have been for the FA Cup. Coventry 3-0 down, come back to 3-3 Coventry against Man United at Wembley, and knock them out right to death with that goal.
Yeah.
And it killed that. That's fairy tale story, didn't it? That would have been a fairy tale story, and it killed it.
And the thing is, Kieran, that's what the FA Cup used to always be about, wasn't it? It was about the fairy tale stories.
The giant killers. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
And
Sunderland being one of
the FA Cup now has been ruined. The FA Cup now has been ruined. But the fact that the final is played on the same day as the semi-finals are played on the same day as Premier League matches and stuff like that. And whatever happened to the final being played at 3:00 on a Saturday afternoon? But now it's
having full TV coverage from the moment they leave their hotel.
It's been it's become so Americanized, and it's become so
been diluted. Yeah, but you it's very hard to argue against that, because as much as I don't like it, you can't expect your club to get 200 million from a broadcasting company and then not do what they want. And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, the last place team last year, I think go to Man United last year. I think they were the most watched club in the Premier League on Sky or whatever it is. And, you know, they earned over 250 million from it. So when they decide your game is played, they decide. It's as simple as that. You can't have both.
Yeah.
So that's what we signed up for, unfortunately.
Yeah, infamy says, but then I guess Premier refs are scared of accountability. I actually believe that. I do believe that.
I do feel sorry for them in one respect. Their job's on the line. You know what I mean? Their career's on the line every time a bloody big decision comes up.
Yeah, but the thing is, Cieran, it's not. When was the last time you heard of a referee being sacked?
Well, not sacked, but he can be demoted, can't he?
He'd be demoted, but then
it's not good for him if that happens.
They'll come right the way back again.
There was a referee at the beginning of the season who was demoted down to the championship, wasn't there?
Yeah, but they get downgraded. They don't get demoted.
Well, downgraded. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they get downgraded. So they'll play one game in the championship, or two games in the championship. If they were supposed to be formed for official at a midweek game, they'll get moved off of that. So they're losing £800 as their official match fee, but they're still being paid Premier League referee fee. So they're not being sacked.
Not sacked.
These guys,
but they are being downgraded. But I say every decision for them is that. I mean, and plus it's a black mark against them, and they don't. They don't intend for that to happen. I don't believe any referee goes in there to fuck up.
No, I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that either, mate. But the fact is that they, time and time again, consistently do fuck up.
Yeah.
They are still being paid. Premier League referees.
No, I get the impression, Keith, you wanted to fucking get the money they've got. That's it. You're getting into it. No. You're jealous now, aren't you?
I'll leave it out, mate. Look, I'm a retired police officer.
I'm only pulling your plonker.
I've got a massive pension from doing a real job, not running around a fucking football.
No, we all want the referees to be perfect. We all do, and I'm sure they do.
I'm not saying perfect. I'm just saying that I don't understand why they keep on making the same fucking mistakes. And Anthony Taylor is supposed to be the Premier League's best referee, and yet, to be honest about it, he's the worst. He's absolutely by far the worst. And that guy.
The trouble is, because of that tag that he's been given, he believes he can do no wrong.
I actually personally think the complete opposite to what you're saying, Cieran. I actually think that making the referees professional, paid a fixed wage, has been the worst thing that the Football Association has ever done. Because by making these guys paid professionals, they're no longer accountable to anybody.
Yeah.
And they can't be struck off. They can't be struck off. They can be downgraded, but they can't be struck off. And when was the last time a referee was sacked? It's not happened. It's never happened.
No, but I mean, it'd have to be. You can't sack a referee for making mistakes, because they all do.
Consistently, yes. If you in your day job in the factory consistently made mistakes, you'd be sacked.
Yeah, of course you would. Yeah. Infamy, another good point. Has there ever been a bigger issue or controversy involving referees than the introduction of VAR? I actually think that the introduction of referees of VAR has reduced the efficiency of refereeing and officiating at games because, as we've discussed earlier, they rely on it too heavily, and it's getting involved in more and more.
Somebody else touched across it in the chat earlier. The problem is that referees now are frightened. They're so reliant on VAR that they're actually sort of sitting back and saying, I haven't got to make this decision because VAR's do it for me. So the man in the middle, the man that should be under pressure, should have 22 players in his face. Did I like it when I was playing? No, I fucking didn't. But it was my choice to be there. No one forced me to be there. It was my choice to be there. But referees now are saying, you know, I'm waiting to hear from VAR. Don't have a go at me. I'm waiting to hear from VAR. Yeah. Referees are not making the decisions anymore. It's being fed to them through an earpiece, and that's where the problem is, because there's no point having a man in the middle.
When you do hear the PGMOL, what's his name, Webb doing these things with Mike Malone, whatever, I want a referee to ref the game. All right, that's it. But he's forever having to talk to these fuckers in the shed, and that's really, surely that's not helping him referee the game. You know, he's distracted by them and his ear roll. I think that itself would be bad. Yeah. You know, you as a referee, Keith, you know, if you had a geezer in your ear all the time and you're trying to watch the game and that can't be a good thing. It's got to be distracting. That's I would have thought.
It can be in some cup finals that I did, like on the Kent Youth League and the some of the schools leagues games. We had electronic flags and we had the mic'd up, proved mic'd up devices. But you didn't get the constant chat. I had one assistant referee on one cup final, and it's quite funny actually, because he would be running his line and he'd be going, and all I could hear in my ear was, "He's on, he's off, he's on, he's off, he's on, he's off, he's on. There he is, ref." And then the flag would bleep. And I'd say to him, "Stop fucking doing that. Just when he's offside, bleep the flag. Stop giving me a he's on, he's off, he's on.
Running commentary.
He's on." Yeah. But the problem is,
would you agree though? All right, Kate. The best linesman I've ever seen was the Russian in the 1966 World Cup final, where Jeff Hurst got his second. And was it over? Was it not? Well, that Russian boy went, "Yep, no problem." And there you go. That was communication. The referee went to see his linesman, had a little chat, and bang, awarded a goal. The best linesman in history. There should be a plaque at Wembley for him. He helped Jeff get a bloody hat trick.
The England football team should have his face on the front of their fucking shirts at every game. Yeah, I agree, mate. Yeah, I agree. And that is a classic example of, you know, how football should be. We've all.
See, I've got no problem with that referee talking to his linesmen, because that's how it used to work. Then you check with your linesman if you've been given a decision, make sure it is okay with it, and then it's awarded or it isn't.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what
you don't see that anymore, though, because now the referee's in the middle of the fucking park having a telephone conversation with his linesman. No, I used to love that. I used to love running over there, the old assistant referee, and going, "Right, what's going on, mate?" You know, and none of this bollocks. You know, none of all this bollocks. You know, when I can lip read, I'm deaf in my left ear and I'm losing my hearing in my right ear, so I can lip read. So when I watch football, it's like quite fun. It's like a lot of fun for me because I can see what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah.
But,
until they do that.
Yeah, they do that now. I don't know, like, as if a footballer's got anything interesting to say that we want to fucking hear or see. You know.
Yeah, that was a sort about, you know, that initiative. I don't know if it was countrywide there. I just watched the Newcastle game when the bunch of deaf kids there in the ground. They had them special shirts with vibrators on to tell them, you know, when there's a goal, whatever, or filled it. I think it was deaf kids or what. Boy, brilliant idea. They were loving it, absolutely loving it.
Let's get to the question on screen.
Right.
Will Sky be happier with the Yawn Fest of City versus Man United, or do they prefer City Coventry?
Leslie, that's a good question, isn't it? But I think for the neutral, we would have preferred Coventry. For the neutral, would have been better. So much better.
Yeah, but for the Premier League rhetoric, as it were, they're happy that it's Man United and Man City because it's two of the greedy six, as we like to call them.
Yeah, they'll get more money out of it. They'll get more views around the world because it's them two, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But I'd love to have seen Coventry.
I just had to search my whole bloody room for fag papers. Gutted. Run out of fag papers. Anyway.
I've got some here, mate.
Yeah, great. I'll pop over and grab them.
Fucking cupboard full of Rizzlers.
Okay, well then let's move on. Support on both sides. Watching the match should just get to vote which way the major call goes. Probably would get more correct calls than VAR. Look, I've always been an advocate for having ex-professional players in VAR because I think they would be more objective. They would get more decisions right. I mean, I'm not saying it should just be ex-professional players, but, as a member of the VAR team, if they had someone like, for example, Kevin Keegan or Stuart Pearce or Ian Wright or, Alan Shearer, name any bloody player. If they had one of them in there, then, they can get a player's objective rather than this rhetoric that they've been given as referees. I mean, I don't wish to be rude about referees or anything, bearing in mind that you're with us, Keith, but there has been more iffy VAR decisions this season than enough. I mean, we've had our fair share of them, and so have a lot of other teams. Yeah. But it just seems that they do tend to favour the established top six or green six or whatever you want to call them. They do tend to favour them more often than not. And surely that must warrant it. If we can see it as fans, surely that must warrant some kind of investigation into it. Surely. But there's no talk of it, no inclination to do so. No. The worst thing for me is somebody like Sheffield United. Now, they've had their fair share of VAR decisions go against them this year. Would they have had more points? Would they have had more chance of survival without that? Who knows? I mean, we can't say for sure. But what we can say for sure is that the clubs from 12th downwards don't get the rub of the green. They don't. They just don't.
No, definitely
when
not.
It comes to officiating. And do you think that is purely from a personal point of view with the officials, or are they instructed to favour the top teams? Or I'm ignorant. I don't know. I'm asking a question, a genuine question.
I'm probably a little bit out of order saying this. I'm going to piss a lot of people off anyway at the FA, and certainly at the Kent FA, because I've admitted now that I was a Kent FA referee for most of my service. I heard quite recently that there was directives being fed to Premier League referees on how to behave in certain games and what was expected of them in certain games. and that's the only thing that I was told. I wasn't told what that meant.
Okay.
But
so there was no context to it. Just
there was no definition to what it actually meant. But it was that referees were being told what was expected of them.
Right.
In certain games, and that would be by the Premier League stroke Football Association. So you can make of that what you will.
Yeah.
I've still got a lot
of it though can be that confirmation bias. And like I said, in the 70s and 80s, there's no doubt that Man United and Liverpool used to get them 50-50 decisions. I have no doubt, because the referees were under so much pressure. Ferguson was such a big voice in the first division. I have no doubt about that. But I think this day and age, we seem to look at when they get one go for them, we seem to highlight it. But when it goes against them, we ignore it. I think that's the scenario. So it seems then that they are getting that. I'm not so sure. I'd like to think there isn't, because if they still are under a VAR, then the game's finished. It's as a competition. But I'd like to think that they don't get that. I just think we just notice it more when they do get one for them.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of.
Rog has just put this. Just add 8 linesmen and dump VAR. Now, 8 linesmen, that's a little bit excessive. But Keith, let me ask you, why is there only 1 linesman on the diagonal? Why don't they have a linesman for every quadrant?
I know that.
I mean,
if you had one each side, they'd both make one puts a flag up, one doesn't.
Yeah,
be a nightmare.
Well, I mean, in theory, you could, but the reality is that it's not necessary, because a referee will have a diagonal, right? Believe it or not, referees have a position, just like players. We have a position, and it's called a diagonal. So we will patrol a diagonal. Now, my diagonal would be from. It's difficult to explain without having a football pitch in front of me, but if you imagine this is a football pitch, hold on a minute. Oh, fucking hell. Right? Yeah. Oh, bollocks. I can't do it. Right? Right. So imagine my square is a football pitch. My diagonal would be top right to bottom left. Right. And that would be my diagonal that I would run or patrol the whole game. Now, my assistant referee would be top left, and my senior assistant referee would be bottom right.
Okay.
And at the bottom of the screen would be where all the coaching staff is and everything else.
Yeah,
so
got you.
Be the main stand, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be my diagonal. Now, the reason why you only need one assistant referee on either quadrant is because theoretically I am patrolling where they would be if they were on my quadrant, if that makes sense.
On the other side of the pitch, as it were.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So a referee should be covering the whole pitch, but using that basic diagonal as a positioning post. So when the ball's in,
so you're running an opposite diagonal to where your other officials are. Then
absolutely, yeah. So you're on the opposite.
Okay. See, I never knew that the referees were instructed, trained, or told whatever to run that diagonal as such.
It's training, yeah. Because obviously even though we're not players, we are classed as believe it or not, and this will amuse a lot of people, referees are classed as a corner flag or a goalpost. If the ball hits, if
part of the game,
we're part of the game. We're just there. If the ball hits us and goes in the goal, it's not a goal. It's disallowed because it's an outside interference. We're classed as just something that just happens to be there in the way.
Right.
As far as the laws go.
So similarly then Similarly, then to the beach ball in that Man City game.
I remember the beach
when,
ball. Yeah,
Darren Bent hit the beach ball.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I watched it again the other day on YouTube, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I've got a question for you. I've got a question for you. Simple question. You should both be able to answer this instantly and perfectly correctly. A player's through on goal. He rounds the goalkeeper. He's through on goal. He kicks the ball towards the goal. A dog runs out across the pitch. Ball hits the dog and disappears off somewhere out by the corner flag.
Right.
Does the referee give a goal, or is it no goal?
No goal.
No goal for me.
Why?
Because it hasn't gone in the bag. It hasn't gone in the onion bag, mate.
And that is exactly the right answer. The definition of a goal is that the whole of the ball has to cross the whole of the line, whether on the ground or in the air, and it has to be done legally within the laws of association football.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, it happened
it did. Yeah. On that theory, then, so if a dog runs onto the pitch and the ball hits the dog and the ball then ends up in the net,
he gets an assist. Simple. Rover gets the assist. Brilliant.
Well, wouldn't it be ironic if it was Bristol Rovers that scored that goal?
Get in there, son. Nice fucking hit.
All right, let me give you another example then, another scenario. The same scenario, player rounds the goalkeeper. He's one-on-one with an open goal. Defender takes off his boot, throws it at the football. It hits the football, and the ball disappears out of play somewhere around about the corner flag. Is it a goal? And if not, why not? And then what does the referee do next?
Well, for me, it's no
Give
goal.
a penalty.
The ball ain't gone in. The player then gets carded for endangering other players by throwing something. And he should, in fact, he should get a red card for that, in my opinion. Regardless of who it is, I think they should get a red card, and because that's an unfair and illegal advantage, in my opinion.
Or is it ungentlemanly conduct, and he gets indirect free kick to the other team?
Well, what would happen? What would happen in my game, in the interpretation of the laws, the way that I see it?
Yeah.
That it would be unsporting behaviour. He's using an obstruction to deny an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, which in itself then is a red card offence. So that player would be shown the red card for denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. And of course, if this happened inside the penalty area, it would have to be a penalty kick.
Right. Yeah. But no goal given, obviously. I mean,
but no goal given because the ball hasn't crossed the line.
Yeah.
A goal can't be given unless the ball.
I was kind of right then.
You were both right. You were both right. Yeah, you were both right.
Here's a scenario then, because this actually happened to me when I was playing. It was a corner. The ball came in. I rose like a salmon.
Got it.
And I didn't reach the ball because a player pulled me back down again, right? And in doing so, tore my shirt. I complained to the referee and got red carded.
Fucking right.
You what? You.
I complained to the referee that he pulled me down and showed him the tear in my shirt, and he said, "Play on." And I said, "Ref, are you fucking blind?" Red card straight out.
So you got red carded for off in a bus, as we would call it, off in a bus. Law 7, Section 7, Law 12.
Right.
But yeah, that should have been a penalty. No, you should have had a penalty. You should have had a penalty.
Yeah, that was my argument, and the referee was denying it, and I said, "Come on, referee, you fucking blind." Straight out with a red card.
Well, referees don't like being told that. I mean, look, referees don't like being told that we're blind. We don't.
Or,
I mean,
or
look,
making
we
noise for you.
know we're cunts, but we don't like being told it, right?
Mm.
So, I mean, I can say that I'm a cunt, but if you call me a cunt on a football pitch, you're going to get a red card, aren't you?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
You know, so.
But yeah, no, I mean, and he still didn't give the penalty. You know what I mean?
Well, that's disgusting. I mean, that's
Even though my
that's,
shirt had a gaping great hole in it, he still didn't.
yeah.
He still didn't give the penalty.
That sounds like.
I mean,
That
it was
sounds
only
like a penalty.
grassroots football, you know.
That's to have a hole in it. You'd never get your head in there if you didn't.
Yeah.
We were struggling, we were struggling in the game as well. I mean, we were 2-1 down, and we were struggling, and we got this corner, and we thought, great, you know. I went up for it, jumped up, and as I jumped up, I mean, I don't know if I would have got the ball or not. I don't know. It never got to me because I was pulled down, you know, by my shirt, and it just ripped right across the back. Big old, like 8-10 inch.
But you see, by the laws of the game, the what of might have been doesn't matter. The what of might have been is irrelevant.
No, but I was complaining about what was, and that was being pulled down.
No, you're saying you might not have been able to head it, and you might not have been able to score. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. If it's a foul, it's a foul.
Yeah.
The Wolves game, right, where the Wolves goal at the end, was ruled out for offside because the player was impeding Fabianski.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of West Ham fans out there that were saying, you know what, that's really harsh. You know, that's really harsh. No, I'm sorry. I actually agree that goal should have been disallowed because the Wolves player was pushing Areola. Then as the ball came across, he was stood in his vision. Now people were saying, but Areola's too old. And Fabianski's too old and he's too slow. He would never have been able to get that header anyway. That's irrelevant. That is irrelevant. As far as the laws of the game is concerned, that's irrelevant.
Right. Okay.
Right. The Wolves player was blocking our goalkeeper, and that's all that matters. As far as the law is concerned, that's all that matters. He was blocking his vision.
Well, guys, we've been running for nearly 2 hours, so I don't know how long you boys want to stick around for. I'm sure the chat don't mind how long.
Sorry, I've just been rabbiting. I'm so sorry.
No, but that's why you were invited on, mate, because we needed your input. I mean, it's been enlightening, you know, and it's been fun. So, you know, I mean, I'm not in any great rush to end, but if you guys need to get off anywhere, then we can do that. It's not an issue.
For me, it's just lovely to be on a live stream with people my own age because normally I'm the oldest fucking swinger in town on most of these live streams.
God, I wish I was your age, Gazer.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, going back to a comment from Steve Tiley earlier, he said he's about 20 years behind us. He's only 59. You're 3 years behind me, son.
Yeah, you can fuck off.
Yeah, you're 3 years behind me, mate. Don't worry about that.
Have you said that I look like Mr. Ben's fucking shopkeeper?
And then you made it worse by putting a fucking fez on your nutcase.
Well, obviously, because I don't care. I don't care if people take the piss out of me. I'm used to it. He's a fucking football referee and a fucking retired policeman. I'm going to get a job as a bailiff next. I don't care. People hate me. I just don't care.
Makes me laugh. Cyclops says, makes me laugh when the coaches bombard the subs with instructions before they come on. Especially
Cyclops, that's one that does me, mate, as well. When they got old Cornet has to walk on, right, and he's got 2 minutes of the fucking game, and there's old, what's his name, with the iPad, saying this is shut the fuck up. You went showing him an iPad about what he's doing. He's like, yeah, righto, mate.
It takes 3 minutes. It takes 3 minutes. It takes 3 minutes to explain to him on the iPad what he's got to do when he comes on for 2 minutes. Yeah. He's got three minutes worth of instructions to fit into 2 minutes.
A load of old bollocks. I know what that iPad says. It'll go, Moyes wants you to sit back here. right in front of the fucking penalty area. See it there? I know what you're moving from there. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Our tactics. Right, okay.
Well, Neil, there you go, Neil. Yeah, here's that tactic. Go and defend that goal. Don't you dare go over that halfway line.
Yeah. No TV or radio. Footballers on VAR. They can do one shaking hand jobs, all of them. I'm not really quite sure what that means.
The problem with having ex-football players on VAR is that they will be paid. They will be paid. So
Cyclops. Every player's thinking shit according to Cyclops. That's it. It should be.
Yeah. As long as it isn't Rio or Keown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
they don't have to be big names. I think they could be career pros that played in the first, second, third divisions or whatever.
Yeah,
I think at least one in there would give them a footballer's perspective on certain fouls, because footballers, I know, watching penalties that are given, that the geezer didn't really foul him, that he just dropped his leg as soon as he got a touch. I know that because I played football up till I was 43 years of age. So would them, the ex-pros. The people that are in VAR don't know that. They just go by the letter of the law. Was there contact? Is it? Yeah, that's it. Bang. I just think that it gives them perspective with an ex-footballer in there to know, mate, he just dropped his legs. Come on. He knows.
It does, but the problem with that is that once they're on the payroll, once they're in there and they're on the payroll.
Yeah, I know, but still. But I'm just saying, I think
they can be told how to conduct.
Everyone's on the payroll, mate. That's the trouble with the Premier League, mate. They're all on a payroll. And that's happened since we invented the Premier League, mate. When the money came, it all changed. And that's our biggest problem.
Yeah. Right. Well, okay. Look, we're getting close to the end of the comments. So
I say let them fuck off to their Super League and let the rest of us do it.
Yeah. Look, I'll take that tomorrow.
Yeah, that's Kieran's attitude as well. And to be fair, for the clubs, that were involved the last time around, I wouldn't miss any of them. I've got to be honest. Who was it? Man United, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Tottenham, wasn't it?
Tottenham for some bizarre reason, but there you go.
Yeah, why are Tottenham in the frame for the Super League? I mean, what are they going to be doing? What are they going to be dormant? Are they going to be handing out tickets?
But they have got a hell of a budget. They've got a massive budget, Tottenham, and they are quite a rich club.
I must admit, I'd missed the games with Liverpool, because traditionally West Ham and Liverpool have always had some good games. Like, and Man United. I mean, let's face it, we've had some fucking epic games with Man United. Chelsea, meh. I mean, Chelsea are not even a team anymore now, are they? They're just. I'm not even sure what they are.
No, they're just.
What they are? No, nobody knows what they are. They're hit and miss load of really talented players.
Yeah,
a really talented squad, but not a team.
A squad of 450,000, but just. I don't know. I have no idea what Chelsea.
Springy's got a nice question now. Are the refs obligated to follow VAR decisions, or can they not stick to their original decision? Yes, they can.
No, they can. We can.
I've seen it happen a couple of times this season, where the referees even refused to go to the monitor. I think it was Wolves and Brentford game. And the referee that was actually officiating on the day refused to go to the VAR monitor. He said, he was talking anything, and everybody in the commentary and that were all saying, "Oh, he's going to go to the monitor and that." And then he sort of made a gesture saying, "I'm not going over there," kind of thing, and he kept his decision. He was confident in his decision, and it was the right decision at the time, actually, to be fair. And he refused to go to the VAR screen. So, yes, they can change.
Yeah, we
and
can.
yes,
Yeah, we
they
can. Yeah, we can.
stick to their own decision.
Yeah, you can. It's your. But this gets back to what I've been saying, that unless referees are mic'd up, unless the whole thing's mic'd up for everyone to hear, we are not going to know what's being said. We are not going to know what's being said, because I am absolutely certain that the information that's being fed through their headsets is, we need you to look at this because we think this. This is what we think. I know you've said it's not a penalty, but this is what we think.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if you've got enough influence through your head, you're gonna do it. I mean, nine times out of 10, let's be honest about it, when a referee goes and views the screen, he'll come back and go, penalty, right?
Yeah.
I think only once has it happened when a referee has done, I think, like you said, Budgie, I think a referee has actually done that and then gone, not going. That was it. It was the sweeping hand. Back to his original decision.
Yeah.
And I say fair play to that referee for doing that.
Yeah, me too.
I wouldn't mind betting he got in fucking trouble for that, though, because I've got no doubt in my mind that VAR is being used to influence the on-field referee. I've got no doubt about that at all. No doubt. They're not there to assist. They are there to influence.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's the conclusion that I've come to. I've watched hundreds of games now since VAR has been introduced.
Yeah.
And I cannot rationalise why what justifies VAR.
And coming from somebody that has done the job, that's quite a damning comment, if you don't mind me saying
it. I have to be honest.
Of course. And wouldn't want you any other way, Keith, to be fair.
I'll be honest. Yeah.
Would
I want to do that job as a professional? No. Absolutely no way. If I was being paid that sort of money to do that on a Saturday afternoon, I would personally feel so much pressure on me for taking that kind of money for one game of football, that I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't want to do it. It's funny because at grassroots we used to say 15 quid, that's nowhere near enough for the abuse we get. But for the money that the Premier League referees are getting paid, I really would not want to do that. I was just quite happy being a policeman on my wage.
Yeah. Right. Well, guys, I'm going to call it a night. I mean, we've been going over 2 hours now. People in the chat have been saying good night to everybody in the chat. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your comments and your thoughts and your opinions. Keith, really appreciate you joining us this evening, mate. Much appreciated.
Lovely to be with you guys, as always.
Thank you. But as I said, your insight has been quite informative and it's been entertaining as well. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to entertain.
Absolute rubbish. It's fucking referee and a copper. Fuck's sake.
Oi, Kieran, I like you, apart from the fact that you're in the fucking sun while we're all here getting pissed on.
But you know why he's in Australia, don't you? Because it's the land of convicts.
He's in exile. He's in exile.
Coppers like you.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. He's run away.
Not coppers like me. I was a good boy. I played a fair game.
I know, but you were chasing me.
Yeah, that was for the Great Train robbery. We know.
Yeah, apparently.
Kieran, we need to reenact them one day. We need to reenact that one day. I'll chase you now with my fucking legs.
Get your baton out.
Be like Benny.
Yeah, don't worry, Keith. He ain't going to get far in front of you either, mate, because he's as well.
The Benny Hill music in the background.
you know.
Good game beyond, Keith. That was good.
It's been brilliant, and
thanks to everyone in the chat. Even though it was Rusty B that fucked up, and I know he put his hands up to it, didn't he? So he should have come on and apologised.
Yeah. Bless him. At least he popped in to sort of put his hands up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Same time next week.
Cheers in the chat.
Brilliant.
Yeah. See you next time, eh?
Yeah. Listen, you can all find Keith on.
Who we got this weekend?
Facebook and stuff. We got Facebook on Saturday, haven't we? Saturday, is it?
If you friend me on Facebook, be warned, I am a miserable cunt and I am moaning about every fucking thing.
Lovely.
And I swear, I swear.
Mm-hmm. You've had a couple of Facebook bans, haven't you?
I had a message from Facebook the other day saying we've taken down one of your posts for going against our fucking standards on murder and suicide, and it was an anti-racist. It was an anti-racist rant.
Oh God!
Yeah. So apparently, being an anti-racist makes me top of the Facebook.
Undesirable.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Oh my God!
I've been on Facebook for nearly 20 years. That's the first fucking time I've had a warning, so I'm quite impressed, really.
That's good, Leslie.
Always watch the show. Great to be able to join in show night. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, night, Leslie.
Everybody.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that, Leslie.
Don't forget. Yeah, and don't forget, everybody. Keep the faith. We've only got Moist for another 3 games.
More than likely.
Yeah, hopefully. Everybody in the chat, you've all been great. Keith, thank you for joining me or joining us.
No worries, guys.
As always, thank you for your partnership.
It's always lovely to chat to you two guys.
Thank you.
Two proper old school East End boys. It's always good to chat to you.
Well, funny thing is, Keith, I've never lived in London. I've stayed in London for like months at a time with my auntie and stuff, but never actually lived in London. I was born in Crawley, and I've lived here all my life, more or less. But I'm an East Ender at heart. But
did you say the army, Budgie?
No.
Well, you said the army.
No. I was in the Air Force.
Was you in the Air Force?
Yeah. I joined the RAF when I was 17.
Oh, mate, respect.
Thank you. I didn't do my full service though. I left after 2 years. I only signed up for 3 anyway, but I left after 2 years. My dad had a massive heart attack, and I got sent home on compassionate leave, and I didn't want to leave him. So basically, I got my brother to drive me back up to Bedfordshire, which is where I was based at the time, and went through the process of leaving, of walking away. But still got me British Legion membership out of it, so I was happy.
Oh, respect, mate. Yeah.
Got me darts and me snooker cue out of it, so that was all good. But no,
when I was a home beat officer at Dagenham, Nick, for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And used to always pop into the British Legion in Dagenham for a cup of coffee or two.
Yeah.
And, eventually that got stopped, didn't it? The woke brigade said you can't be doing that sort of thing on duty. So yeah.
And on the woke brigade, I know this is controversial, but if you're born a boy, you're a man. If you're born a girl, you're a woman. Anything else doesn't exist. Sorry, but there it is. That's how I see it. Anyway, people, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be out. I'll talk to you guys in the green room.
Can I just